So this lesson is on a review of operations of integers, so adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing integers. And you need to have a sheet of paper out so that you can take notes as you listen to this video. The first vocabulary word that we're going to write down is opposites. Opposites are numbers that are the same distance from 0, but are on opposite sides of 0. For example, if we look at, let's say, the number 2, then the opposite of 2 would be negative 2. So this is slightly different than absolute value. Absolute value means make whatever's inside the absolute value symbols positive. This is actually just switching the sign. So here are 3 different examples where the directions just simply say that we need to find the opposite. So the opposite of 5, think about 5 on the number line. The opposite would be negative 5. Negative 10 would be way to the left of 0, so its opposite would be a positive 10. And letter C says to take the opposite of the absolute value of negative 6. Well, you need to take the absolute value first. So the absolute value makes this a positive 6, but then when we take the opposite of the positive 6, it becomes a negative 6. This next part, we're going to start talking about the addition and subtraction of integers. And I just want to refresh your memory. We have SSS, which means same sign sum. That means if they have the same sign, if they're both positive or they're both negative, so both positive or both negative, we add the numbers and take the sign of the larger number. Okay, likewise, we have different signs difference. Where if we have one positive and one negative, we subtract. We subtract the numbers and take the sign of the larger number. By a larger number, we're going to put quotes around that because we actually mean the absolute value of the number. Obviously, negative 10 is not larger than 5, but 10 is larger than 5. So since its absolute value is greater than 5, we would use the sign of the negative 10. The third thing that I want you to write down is the 2-line rule, or keep, change, change. Okay, and this is the rule when we are looking at subtraction. So let's start out with these 6 examples, and we're just going to go through and do the addition problems first. So we're going to first identify if it's same sign sum or different signs difference, and then we'll go through and find the answer. All right, so -3 plus -2, again, those parentheses don't really mean anything. So we have same sign sum, the 3 is negative and the 2 is negative. So we're going to write same sign sum, and that means sum means we add. The bigger number is 3, which is negative, so our answer is -3. -20 plus -17, that is also an example of same sign sum. So we add 20 and 17 and get 37, and the bigger number 20 is negative, so -37 would be our answer. Letter C, -5 plus 3. These are different signs. The 5 is negative and the 3 is positive, so we're going to take the difference. 5 minus 3 is 2. Bigger number is negative, and we will label this as different signs difference. You can pause the video and do D, E, and F. Letter D, -3 plus 2 would be different signs difference. 3 minus 2 is 1. Bigger number is negative, so we get a -1. 6 plus -7, again, different signs difference. 7 minus 6 is 1, and the larger number is negative, so we get -1 again. And letter F, -7 plus 7, that is definitely different signs difference. So 7 minus 7 is 0, and we get 0 for an answer. This next set of examples here are subtraction problems. So the very first thing that we should be looking at doing is doing the 2-line rule. So the first line goes through your subtraction sign, and your second line goes through, if the next number is negative, you make it positive, or if it's not, doesn't have a negative sign, it's positive, you make it negative. Remember, the first parenthesis here is the only thing that can come in between your 2 lines in the 2-line rule. So now our problem is -6 plus 3, and now we can follow our same sign sum and different signs difference rules. So 6 is negative, the 3 is positive, that's different signs difference, and when I take the difference, I get -3. Remember, you can't think about same signs or different signs until you've converted your subtraction problem into an addition problem. Letter B, I'm going to make the subtraction sign into an addition sign, and I'm going to make that 1 negative. So now our problem reads -5 plus -1. So 5 is negative, 1 is negative. That's going to be same sign sum, and that's going to give us -6. 8 minus 13, there's my 2 lines. Now it becomes 8 plus a -13, so that's different signs difference. 13 minus 8 is 5, and my bigger number is negative. Letter D, 1 line through the subtraction sign, 1 line to make that 7 negative. So now we have -10 plus -7. That would be same sign sum, and we would get -17. Letter E, 1 line, 2 lines, 2 plus a -8. We can go ahead and do different signs difference. 8 minus 2 is 6, with the bigger number being negative. And -20 minus 4, we're going to do the 2-line rule. That becomes a -20 plus a -4, which would give us same sign sum, and -24 for an answer. The next part of this lesson, we're going to jump to multiplying and dividing integers. So both multiplying and dividing integers have the same rules, in that if you have an even number of negative signs, that means your answer will be positive. If you have an odd number of negative signs, your answer is negative. You can think of them as having pairs. If two negatives pair up together, they become a positive. So if there's one negative that isn't paired up at all, then that's going to force that to continue to be negative. All right, so we're going to practice some examples of multiplication first, and then some examples of division. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go through and multiply or divide, and then you can count up your negative signs. So 3 times 5 is 15. We have one negative sign in the problem, so 1 is an odd number, and therefore our answer would be negative. Negative 6 times 8, so 6 times 8 is 48, and since there's one negative sign, that would make our answer negative. 9 times 2 is 18. And a negative times a negative, that's two negatives, which is even. So that's going to keep our answer as a positive answer. Negative 7 times negative 4 is 28. And again, a negative times a negative is a positive. And negative 1 times 5, 1 times 5 is 5. One negative leaves our answer as a negative. 4 times 3 is 12. Two negative signs, that makes it positive. On the next part, we're dividing. So 80 divided by 10 is 8. And there's one negative sign, so that leaves our answer as negative. 55 divided by 11 is 5. Again, one negative sign. 20 divided by 4 is 5. But we have two negatives, which makes a positive. Negative 81 divided by 9. 81 divided by 9 is 9. And we have two negatives, so that makes it positive. 45 divided by 9 is 5, one negative. And 14 divided by 7 is 2, with two negatives.